Shalom, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rahahodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that will well, and shalom to Ark in pushing this word around the globe with faith and with truth and with sincerity. Back with another lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So as always, I'd like to start by saying we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout the various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Jacob, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like, because according to Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18, your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. Okay? So I've got an article here from BBC News. It says COVID vaccination will be required to fly, says Qantas chief. This is published on the 23rd of November, which is today, in Australia. Qantas boss Alan Joyce says requiring proof of vaccination before boarding flights is likely to be common. International air travellers will be in future need to prove that they have been vaccinated against COVID-19 in order to board Qantas flights, the airline says. The Australian flag carrier's boss, Alan Joyce, said the move would be a necessity when vaccines are available. I think there's going to be a common thing talking to my colleagues in other airlines around the globe, he said. Australia's shutdown and its international borders... Australia shut down its international borders early in the pandemic and required those returning to quarantine. The country has more recently relied on lockdowns, widespread testing and aggressive contact tracing to push daily infections nationwide close to zero. In an interview with Australia's Nine Network on Monday, Mr. Joyce said Qantas was looking at ways of changing its terms and conditions for international travellers as the industry, which has been hit hard by travel restrictions, looks at ways of moving forward. We will ask people to have a vaccination before they can get on an aircraft. For international visitors coming out and people leaving the country, I think that's a necessity, he told the broadcasters. In August, Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that it is likely that any successful vaccine would become as mandatory as you could possibly make it. There are always exemptions for any vaccine on medical grounds, but that should be the only basis, he told Station 3AW. Well, I've got a cut for that. Let me just get that quickly. It says, "Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh." So, who are we supposed to listen to as Israelites? Men or the Lord who created us? Fuck what men have got to say, to be honest, man. Esau ain't in charge. He has no jurisdiction. The Most High, Yahweh, is in control. Nonetheless, let's continue. That same month, Qantas reported an annual loss of almost a Australian dollar 2 billion because of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Joyce said that at the time that trading conditions were the worst in the airline's 100-year history, and that the impact of COVID on all airlines is clear and it's devastating. On Monday, the Australian state of New South Wales reopened its border with neighbouring Victoria for the first time since the infection soared in Victoria's state capital, Melbourne, in July. Flights between the city and the NSW capital, Sydney, normally one of the world's busiest routes, has been cancelled. Arriving in Sydney on a Qantas flight for the first time in months, passengers were greeted by people at the terminal holding up signs that read "Welcome back." More than 20 additional flights were scheduled between the two states on Monday. "Today is the day I get to meet my 4-month-old grandson for the first time," one passenger told the BBC. Australia has recorded around 900 coronavirus-related deaths and almost 28,000 infections in totals. So that's the end of the article. You see, this is all leading towards Revelation 13, verses 15 through 16, or 18, I believe, whatever. It's all leading to that, man. It's all leading to the mark. And this also touches upon 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, I believe. Let me get that first, then I'll get Revelation. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the Highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things on the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For as like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the Highest have plain beginnings in wonder, and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved, and shall be able to escape by his works, and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For as such in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law, while yet they had liberty, and when as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood it not, but despised it, the same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be not now curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when. But inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world was created. Jump into the 15th chapter. No, the 14th chapter. No. This is 13. Why am I in 30 seconds? It's like I've lost the preset. Let me just try and find it. Yes, so it is the 15th chapter. 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. I missed it. It says, starting from verse 14, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's the point. But continuing on, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbour, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. You know? So that's what's going down. Jumping on to Book of Revelation. Revelation 13 verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for as the number of a man, and his number is 666. Moving on to Revelation for chapter 14. Starting from verse 2, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts, and before the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These are redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. And I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel, to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear the Most High, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and the earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his right forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. So with that, giving all praise, honor and glory unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. The fact of the matter is that we're drawing closer to this time, and these prophecies are speaking louder than ever. So if you are hearing these words and you're an Israelite, it would behoove you to adhere to this truth sooner rather than later, because the doors of repentance are rapidly closing. Giving all praise and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Chachodash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that will well, and Shalom to you, Arkim, that you're pushing this word.